Hey guys, so what I'm going to be doing today is showing you an interesting experiment that you can do on your own, and it has to do with a concept called osmosis. What we're first going to do is review diffusion, which you guys have learned in last class. So as you guys remember, diffusion is the movement of particles from an area where there are many of them to an adjoining area where there are very few of them. So as you guys recall, this is a movement from high concentration to low concentration. So as you guys can see, the green solute particle is in high concentration on the left-hand side, compared to the right-hand side, which is low concentration, so it's filled with air compared to solute on the left-hand side. So these green solute particles will begin to diffuse to the right until there is an equal number on each side. So we see diffusion all around us. Diffusion happens when you smell a pizza that comes out of the oven, or when someone walks by you who has a lot of perfume on. So for cells, diffusion is absolutely essential. So it uses diffusion to transport oxygen into the cell. This is used by the mitochondria, and it is used to produce energy for the cell. So now we're going to discuss the results of our experiment and discuss why the eggs shrank and grew as they did. So after we dissolved the shell of the egg, we were only left with a membrane. This membrane is selectively permeable. Selective permeability refers to the property of a barrier that only allows certain substances to pass through it. And in this case, only water is allowed to pass through the membrane of our egg. This is how osmosis differs from diffusion. Osmosis is a special kind of diffusion that involves only the movement of water through a selectively permeable membrane. Observing the egg and syrup, we could clearly see that it shrank from its initial position. This is because the concentration of water inside the egg is much higher than the concentration outside the egg. This means that the water has to diffuse across the membrane of the egg into the surrounding corn syrup. Therefore, it's moving from high concentration to low concentration. From the experiment, we can see that the egg within the water grew exponentially compared to its starting position. This is because the concentration of water outside of the egg is much higher than the concentration of water within the egg. This means that the water has to move from high concentration to low concentration across the semi-permeable membrane to try and even out the concentration. This relates to cells because they also have a selectively permeable membrane. The movement of water in and out of cells is absolutely essential for their survival. This can also be easily seen in plants. So if you let the soil around the plant dry out, the plant would begin to droop as the concentration of water particles inside the cell has dropped. With no water in the soil, there is no water to move into the cells. If you examine the cells in the stem, they would look shrunken. The cell walls would not be rigid, and it would give a plant a wilted appearance.